Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the regular council meeting of Monday, September 8th at 4:30, and I'll call the meeting to order. Got a couple opening remarks. Patrick?
Just want to remind potential candidates that the 2025 municipal election nomination day is September 22nd, 2025, and it closes at noon. So if you're thinking about running for mayor or council, book an appointment with a returning officer by emailing legislativeservices@drumheller.ca or call 403-823-1347. It just will help you out in the long run.
And Tom?
Yeah, just a reminder to everyone that the Dinosaur Half Marathon goes this Sunday, primarily around Midland, going over the Cahoot Crossing Bridge into Nackmine. So just be aware Sunday morning is going to be, I believe they said, over 600 participants this year. So just be on the lookout for that. And also, of course, we have to bring up pickleball. Congratulations to all the pickleball players who won a lot of medals in the most recent pickleball event. Pickleball, of course, is taking over the world.
According to Tom. All right, let him have his moment of glory. All right, Tom, you're taking over office for September and October. And first off, I'd like to thank Councillor Soretta for all her help throughout she ended up doing double duty. And so thank you for covering all the help you gave me. Appreciate it. All right, Tom.
I, Tom Zariski, solemnly affirm that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute according to the law the office of Deputy Mayor for the town of Drumheller for the months of September and October 2025.
Congratulations, Tom. And thanks again, Crystal. All right, do I have any additions to the agenda? All right, can I get a motion to adopt the agenda as presented, please? Tony?
I move that council adopt the agenda for the September 8, 2025 regular council meeting as presented.
Seconder, please. Stephanie? All in favor? Carrie, can I get a motion to accept the minutes of August 25th, please? Crystal?
I move that council approves the minutes for the August 25th, 2025 regular council meeting as presented.
Seconder, please. Patrick? Comments? All in favor? Carried. All right, let's move on to 6.1, please. Sorry, just a sec here. Can I get a motion to accept the minutes of June 26th, Tom?
I move that council accepts the Drumheller District Seniors Foundation meeting minutes for the June 26, 2025 regular meeting as information.
Seconder, please. Tony? Comments? All in favor? Carried. And can I get a motion to accept the Drumheller District Solid Waste June 13th meeting, please? Patrick?
I move that council accept the Drumheller District Solid Waste Management Association meeting minutes for June 13th, 2025 as information.
Seconder, please. Stephanie? Comments? All in favor? Carried. And for the listening public, that information is for you to review at your convenience. So we shall move on to let's go back here. We are going to go to 7.1, please. We have the Drumheller Area Health Foundation here to present, and we would like to welcome you forward, and we're looking forward to hearing. So who's all going to? You're taking it all?
Yeah.
All right. So if you push that little red button.
That's right. I was briefed on this.
Okay.
Good evening, Council. On behalf of the board of the Drumheller Area Health Foundation, we would like to thank you for allowing us to present this delegation. We are very appreciative of your time. My name is Ashley. I'm the administrative manager to the board. And with me today, we have David Schmidt, the director, Sue Schmidt, the chair, Jackie Watts, secretary, Tom Diprose, director, and Linda Tricor, director as well. So you guys might know a little bit about this program already directly from AHS, but in March of this year, we were approached by AHS with an exciting program aimed at addressing critical nursing shortages in rural Alberta. So the Grow Your Own program is the name of the program, and it's for rural areas in Alberta. It is a partnership between the Alberta Health Services and the University of Calgary. It'll allow rural residents within 100 kilometers of Drumheller, with a little flexibility for special areas that are farther from one town centre, to receive their Bachelor of Science in Nursing in the rural area, receiving instruction in classes mostly at the Drumheller Healthcare Centre. It requires a simulation lab to be built at the hospital for instruction, and students will mainly be at the hospital in the simulation lab, but in the first 2 years, we'll be doing online and in-person labs at the U of C. The course duration can be condensed in this program from a traditional 4-year undergraduate program to 3.25 to 3.5. This will reduce some family and financial barriers to attending university in urban locations. And an overview of this program. Oh, sorry guys. So in the central zone, we will be the third hospital to roll out this program. The first one was in 2021. It was Wainwright, and they just had their first batch of graduates this fall. And in 2025, this fall, will be the first round cohort group in Drayton Valley. And the cohort groups are 8 to 9 students per term. And again, partnership with AHS, and you can condense them. You'll have your Bachelor of Science in Nursing, online lectures, in-person lab, and clinical training. And the main aim of this program, again, is to reduce nursing shortages in rural areas. Training local applicants to become nurses, ensuring they stay in the area they were instructed in. For the other 2 programs, based on where their hospitals were, it was a 120 kilometer radius of selection. Because Drumheller is so close to Calgary, our selection area will be 100 kilometers. And this is just a little map of the selection zone just to show the areas. And again, consideration will go to small communities uniquely positioned outside of that range. And the history of the program, I kind of already went over this. They're taught by U of C faculty, in-person labs, and the first one being launched in 2021, and this year, the first one for Drayton Valley. So the Drumheller simulation program. So a simulation, it requires personnel, space, program evaluation, equipment, curriculum, and faculty development. This is just an example of a couple of the labs that have already been built in Lac La Biche and Red Deer. It will basically have everything outfitted for a resident situation or emergency acute care situation. So for our hospital, they gave us 3 different schematics, and the one that they settled on was the most cost effective to retrofit an existing 2 meeting rooms into one. It will have 2 beds with mannequins, a cleanup area, and right on the end there, you'll see kind of a control area where the instructors can sit in and look over the simulation for the students. And right across that area there is in blue, the simulation lab. Right across the hall, this is right down from our cafeteria in the hospital as well. Right across the hall will be a conference room where they will debrief afterwards, and there will also be retrofitting another small room for a student lounge. So where we fit into this is they approached us to finance the renovation of the simulation lab. So the existing conference rooms, again, and the debriefing room and the student lounge, the quote is to be a maximum of $300,000. And the equipment from the lab will be provided by the University of Calgary, so that $60,000 to $80,000 won't fall on the foundation, and AHS will be responsible for maintaining and replacing the equipment as it breaks down in the future. And some of the community benefits of the Grow Your Own program: it's a rural community focus. It's designed specifically for students in rural areas, making this education more accessible and plausible to complete than most traditional university programs. It combines blended learning, utilizing a hybrid approach, online learning modules, in-person practical training, and clinical placements in local healthcare facilities, which will benefit the entire areas in the 100-kilometer catchment zone, because they won't just be going for their placements in our area for their practicum parts. It will be all over that 100-kilometer hospital range. And the partnership, again, I already talked about with the U of C and AHS. So some of the benefits, reducing barriers. It's reducing barriers to access nursing education, such as travel and housing costs, by offering them in the communities that they are already situated in. And again, the main goal, local retention. By training the nurses in their own communities, likelihood of them staying and working is a lot higher. There will be a contract, which hasn't been finalized yet to my knowledge, but they will have to sign off on staying in the rural areas in that 100-kilometer zone for a certain period of time after graduation. So we will know, we'll have those nurses secured in those areas that need them. And improved healthcare access by retaining more nurses in rural areas. It improves access to healthcare services for all residents, and the community development. It fosters a sense of community, encouraging local residents to pursue careers in healthcare. And then the simulation lab, there's a lot of benefits to this too. That doesn't just stop for the students or our healthcare center. It will also be utilized by all the towns and first responders in the 100-kilometer range. Enhance clinical skills. It provides a safe space for staff to practice procedure, to refine their skills, gain proficiency in a controlled environment, and this will improve patient safety and outcomes. And it'll improve teamwork and communication. Simulation allows teams to practice their roles, communicate effectively, coordinate their actions, and lead to better patient care again. Increase confidence to staff by providing the safe environment to practice and learn. The labs will help build confidence in their abilities and skills, reducing anxiety and improving performance in real life situations. And it'll reduce errors and improve patient safety. They help staff identify and correct potential issues in the healthcare process or environment, reducing the risk of errors going forward. Support for specific groups. The labs can be tailored to support staff returning from absences, transitioning to new roles, and seeking professional development opportunities. It's a cost-effective training method for existing staff. They can be used more effectively than traditional methods, reducing the time and cost associated with traditional training programs. And a lot of times they can do things at the hospital rather than sending people away for these trainings as well. Interprofessional education. They can facilitate collaboration, allowing staff from different disciplines to work together and improve their teamwork. And as I kind of started out saying, it's a powerful community resource. It allows for training and use by other community groups outside of AHS, such as the fire department and RCMP. It helps facilitate learning and efficiency to first responders. And this isn't just limited to the Drumheller area, it's the whole 100-kilometer zone. So in summary, the foundation and the healthcare centers and AHS strongly support this program. It will benefit current and potential employees and the residents of Drumheller and the surrounding areas. Again, the cost of this lab is estimated to top out at $300,000. It's due by early 2027. It is a large amount of money to raise, and we are bringing money into the regular funds that we always do so that we can support the regular purchases that come across our board meetings. So we kind of want to keep this separate from our regular fundraising. There is a potential for naming possibilities for the lab based on level of donor support, and we're working with AHS just in the fall here to see what that will look like and what we can do in there to honor people that have donated to this cause. And local, municipal, and corporate donor support will help this program become a reality, and we believe it'll positively impact our town and the overall quality of healthcare our residents can receive. So what we're doing for fundraising is we're going to anyone in the 100-kilometer catchment zone, municipalities and towns, and we're requesting, if the budget allows, for a $10,000 grant or donation towards this program. If it's not possible, we're just thankful to get out to as many places and get the word out. If anyone knows of anyone that wants to apply to this program, I've left my business card here and I can get them in touch with the people at the hospital that are with Maria and the site manager. They will be accepting applications in October of this year for the program to start next year. And we are extremely grateful for you guys allowing us time to come here. So thank you very much. We think this will benefit the nursing applicants, but also in the areas in terms of healthcare. We are doing fundraising in different areas as well. We're looking at collection boxes at realtors, the grants from the municipalities and townships, approaching corporate entities for funding and naming opportunities. We're trying to partner with restaurants for a certain day of a percentage that we can kick back towards this project. and targeted fundraising letters to the smaller hamlets and villages. Does anyone have any questions?
Wonderful presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, council, who would like to start? Crystal.
So, because we are so close to Calgary, what are the chances it could be like if someone lives, say, 30 kilometers outside of that east zone? Would they?
They would likely
Yeah.
be, from talking to Maria and Heather at the hospital, anyone that's closer to Calgary than to our healthcare center, we really want this to benefit the local applicants more. And if it's quicker for them to go into the city, they would be strongly advised to do that rather than apply to this program, just because there's only 8 to 9 students that will be taken.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then that kind of leads to my next question, like, how are you going to prevent applicants from that Calgary region? Because I see this as like, wow, I could be in a class of only 9 students instead of 30.
For sure.
Like if they moved here and they lived here, then that they're fine. They can enter the program, but they would have to relocate.
I think a lot, yeah, and they would have to know that they will have to sign a contract because I think AHS is worried about retaining these people after they come for placements here. So I suppose if I don't know in that specific situation how long they would need to be living here first, but I believe because they've had so many applications in Drayton Valley and Wainwright, they would give preference to people that have been longstanding citizens of the area within the 100 kilometers.
No, that's good to know.
Yeah.
And the medical committee, they're working with you guys in this too. And I know they bring all those university students here every year. And I think this is a great thing to maybe involve the high school as come look at our simulation lab.
Yes.
This could be a potential.
I think they are planning on doing that too.
That's
and
great.
for part of the recruitment in years forward, they're seeing how it goes this year, but they do plan on going to the high schools. That was in the
No, that's great.
original.
Good job. Exciting.
Anybody else? Patrick?
Are you able to describe a little bit about how bad the shortage of nurses are in the area on any given time?
I actually don't have the statistics for that, but I can speak to Maria and I can provide you guys with an email when I have. I'm not comfortable enough to know the exact statistics.
Anybody else? Tony?
Yeah, very excited to see the program. Probably 10 years too late for my daughter, but she'd probably still be here if she went through this program. Housing for these people, do you see these, is housing available, or do you have a plan for that, or are they going to be commuting?
This question has come up. We are thinking, since most of the people should be close in the area, that they would commute, or they could get groups of people together and commute if they're from similar areas. But we're hoping they're close enough that they're able to come here. If Maria said, if they're the site manager at the hospital, if it presents a bigger problem than they thought, they can look into some kind of, I think she called it RPAC housing, that they could do something in that way. We don't anticipate that being a huge problem though.
Tom?
Excellent presentation. What a fine board you have.
Thanks, Tom. I think so too.
I guess my comment to this is the issue at the Drumheller Health Center is not necessarily a lack of nurses, but the constant kind of revolving door of retention of nurses. So very typically, talking to Maria, I mean, they'll get a person there for 2 years and then they'll leave. They'll get another person there for 2 years and then they'll leave. And one of the benefits of this program seems to be if somebody's already living here and gets this training and becomes a nurse, well, they're probably not going to move away. They're probably going to stay here and be a nurse. So that retention aspect is very good.
Yeah.
And speaking to Tony's idea of housing, that is one of the issues as well, is that we can attract nurses from Calgary to come here and then they can't find a suitable place to live. And so they give up after a year or two or whatever and they leave.
Yeah.
As opposed to somebody living, close in this area, they already have housing. And so that's kind of the double benefit of it as I see it.
Yeah, good point.
Anybody else? Well, the exciting thing about housing is we are working extremely hard on housing. Hopefully we have a few come to fruition here pretty quick.
Awesome.
So I assume that other than living here, the requirements will be done through the university as to who gets in based on marks, et cetera.
Yeah, and it's not as stringent as the regular nursing program. If you were to apply directly to U of C, there is a bit more flexibility because it is aimed at people. Say you've started a family, you want to go back to school, your transcripts aren't very current. So from what I understand, speaking with Maria, your cover letter is going to sell you. So you can have outdated transcripts or older ones, or you might not make the marks that the U of C puts forth if you were to go on campus. But if you can sell it in that letter and you can show them that you're wanting to serve the community and stay, that will really speak volumes over the grades.
Yeah, and I just love the fact that they're not afraid to actually put the requirements in that you actually got to stay here, because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of programs say that, but then
Yeah.
they get all so
Yeah.
soft on it. So
Yes,
I
exactly.
hope that
Yeah,
they
they are
stay
working on
committed.
that. An actual contract.
So as far as like the donation or the commitment from the town, we can, advise administration looking at budget for 2026 that will be approved by the next council. However, I think it's a tremendous program. And then I think we should recommend, Tom, you get the community assistance grant out for that as well, because
Awesome.
could run through something like that.
Thank you.
There's another opportunity we have. Um, and yeah, I like the fact that you're looking at possibly, because there may be somebody who would want to name that wing. Like there's, be really an honor for some family
Yes, yeah.
to name that wing. So that would be kind of a cool thing. So I'm glad you're taking that. And then finally, to yourself, the board. I know Tom's on the board, and how hard he presses us on or informs us. I shouldn't say presses, but he does. Informs us of all the work you guys are doing. So thank you. I know as volunteers, this community wouldn't operate without the volunteers. And thank you to all of you on the board for being part of that, because that's what makes this valley the wonderful place that it is. So thank you all for that. And thanks for the great presentation.
Thank you, Heather.
And yeah, we'll make sure that we ask. Yes, I'm looking at Victoria right now to make sure that she looks at that number in the budget.
Awesome. Thank you guys again for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you all for coming and being with us. Okay, let's move on. We had a public hearing at 5:30. So can I get a motion to accept that presentation, please? Tony?
I move that council accepts the presentation of the Grow Your Own Rural Nursing Program and Simulation Lab by the Drumheller Area Health Foundation as information.
Seconder, please. Crystal, all in favor? Carried. And we have public hearing at 5:30, which we'll come back to. So we'll move on to 9.1.1, please, Antonia.
Thank you for having me, Your Worship and Council. I'm Antonia Streliski, the Development Officer for the town. In front of you today, you have second and hopefully third reading of the Municipal Development Plan Amending Bylaw 26.25. The town administration and Palliser Regional Municipal Services has been working in collaboration to review the municipal development plan and propose this amending bylaw to update some of the terminology within the document. So in front of you today, we do recommend second and third reading of the amending bylaw. Some of the changes that have been made are, so no changes were required as to the proposed bylaw from feedback within the public hearing. However, administration and Palliser Regional Municipal Services has identified 7 clerical errors that were made throughout the document. When you merge multiple documents together, things get slipped. So primarily numbering mishaps that have been made throughout the document, and one change of the name of the Grove Plaza berm, which was misidentified. This review and update is intended to help the town revise the municipal development plan so that it continues to serve as a relevant and effective tool in guiding land use decisions, supporting long-term community goals, and coordinating development for municipal infrastructure. However, the scope of this project that was presented within this amending bylaw was limited within the terms outlined within the project terms of reference agreed upon between town administration and Palliser Regional Municipal Services. and therefore we do still recommend a full comprehensive review to occur at some point within 2026. Apart from the minor clerical errors, with no other changes, I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Can I get a motion on the table for second reading, please? Stephanie?
I move the council give second reading to Municipal Development Plan amending bylaw number 26.25 as amended.
Seconder? Patrick, comments? Tom?
Yeah, so this is kind of a consolidation and revision of what was. And you talked about a major kind of look at it in 2026. Could you kind of talk to that a little bit?
So this section primarily is to do with some of the changes in terminology to do with the flood project, some of the changes to the trail network program that we've done through Rails to Trails, and very focused on those two topics. However, we've identified that there are some potential changes that would need to be made within the document in reviews with other departments, because it doesn't touch on just development. This also touches on infrastructure, tourism. There's a huge amount of information within the municipal development plan that we just unfortunately weren't able to review within this review. So we'll touch on or review all of those sections within the 2026 review at that point.
So the general public can look forward to having input into all of these different things. I mean, this is wonderful. This is a very comprehensive plan. But looking at different sections of it, I think there are people in the community that would like something a little bit different. And so they will have the opportunity, obviously, do you think, going forward when this is the big revision comes about?
Of course, yeah, we would include public participation with the review.
Anybody else?
Sorry, Your Worship, I could jump in.
Go ahead.
Yes, so when we do the thorough review in 2026, it will incorporate a more significant public consultation process. We actually have a public engagement policy that we will be bringing forth to council here, which is an update of our current policy, which will be a lot more elaborative and more specific on the different levels of engagement. I know council and myself and some staff members were able to do some training here earlier this year on IAP2 training, which is internationally recognized public engagement training. So we plan on integrating that into our MDP process this year. Okay, maybe nationally recognized, not internationally recognized, but it's very good training.
Thanks, Esther. Anybody else? All right, all in favor of second reading? Carrie, can I get a motion for third reading, please? Patrick?
I move the council give third and final reading to Municipal Development Plan amending bylaw number 26.25 as presented.
Seconder, please. Crystal? Comments? Great work on this, as always. You just do such great work, so thank you for this. I know it's a big project, and there's lots of fine detail. I know it's hard for us to understand every little thing, but I respect that you look after us in the community, so thanks for the work. All right, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay, let's move on to 9.2.1, please, Victoria.
Good afternoon, Your Worship and Council. My name is Victoria Chen, Chief Financial Officer, as well as Director of Corporate and Community Services. I have two requests for decisions for Council considerations today. The first one is regarding the financial auditing services. Currently, the town is using BDO as our external auditors. As our contract is about to expire with the auditors, the administration has issued a request for proposals for auditing services for 2025 to 2028 on July 11, 2025. And as a result of this request for proposal, we received one bid, which is Matrix Group Limited. Limited Liabilities Partnership, a chartered professional accountants that is based in Edmonton. So even though this is only one submissions, the administrations went through the whole process of going through the established grading rubric and then making sure that they meet all the selections criteria. So they met all the criteria and then also actually grade pretty high. As a result of this, the proposal for the 2025 to 2028 fee schedules will be starting from 56,500 all the way to 62,500 in 2028 with a total contract award for about $245,000. And you can see that some of the engagement fee fluctuates because it depending on the requirement. So for certain years, we will be doing, instead of a review for the libraries, we will be doing a full audit. And then sometimes we also have to do a LLP audit every 3 years. So you will see that the audit fee goes up in 2026 and go down in the future years because we only need to do certain audit every 3 years. So we also have done the reference checks for Matrix, even though it's based in Edmonton. They also start doing audit works in our with our neighbors as well. And so far, I heard nothing but good review from these auditing firms. So from my administrations, I have two motions for council for considerations. One is award the auditing services contract to Matrix Group LLP CPAs for 2025 to 2028 with an option for extension for another 2 years. The other motion is MGA specific because appointing an external auditor is a council prerogative. So under the MGA, the council also need to appoint the new auditors as a result of the award of the contract. Thank you.
Thanks, Victoria. Can I get a motion, please, Council? Crystal?
I move that council awards the auditing service contract to Matrix Group LLP Chartered Professional Accountants for the fiscal years beginning January 1, 2025 and ending December 31, 2028, with the option to extend the contract for an additional 2 years.
Seconder? Tony? Comments? Tony?
Yeah, happy to hear that the reference checks were done. That was my question because I haven't heard of this group either. But they are a larger firm and they'll be able to pay attention to us, and you say their reviews are good, so you're comfortable with them? Good to
Yes,
know.
and they do have a lot of municipal clients as well. So yes, we are pretty comfortable with them. And as a matter of fact, the auditor is actually working with our CAO in Bonneville as well. So
Anybody else, Crystal?
They're very, very good. At least we've never had any, the MD of Bonneville never had any issues.
Yeah, just to add to that, I did a quick search and it does talk, they deal with over 150 not-for-profit, 50 municipalities, a lot of school divisions. So, you know, it's good to find an auditor because they are hard to find these days. So good to have someone that will be here for a couple of years now.
Tom?
Could you explain the benefits of changing auditors every once in a while?
yes, it's basically accountability. Technically, because the auditor is supposed to be independent, and one of the things is that you just don't want the auditor to become so comfortable with the administrations and with the operations that the complacency kicks in. So that is why it is nice to change the auditors if the opportunity presents.
Anybody else? All in favor? Carrie, can I get a motion for the second to appoint Matrix? Tom?
I move that council appoints Metrics Group LLP Chartered Professional Accountants as the Town of Drumheller's municipal auditors for the fiscal years beginning January 1st, 2025 and ending December 31st, 2028.
Seconder, please. Patrick, comments? I'm absolutely in favor of all of this, Victoria and Esther. This is a new CAO. This is a thing that shows that council does expect the financials to be audited regularly. So it really gives credibility to our organization and to council. So thank you for making that happen. Anybody else? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. And let's go on to 9.2.1, please, Victoria.
Okay, it's me again. So this is a very routine request for decisions. So basically, this request for decisions asking councils to agree that the reserve bid will be the assessed values as of July 1st, 2025. So this is a legislative process that we have to establish a reserve bid in order to proceed with the tax sales. So as you can see in the appendix C, is that those are the property that have a tax arrears, and the towns already register the lien on that. So when when it's come to this time, is that these properties already have 3 years tax outstanding. So it is a very long routine process under the MGAs to come to the auctions. And one of the option requirement is that we have to establish a reserve bid. Of course, there's two options we can establish the bid. One is that we use the assessment value, or the second one is that we use a appraisals to assess that, but then it's going to cost more, and then it will be added on to the properties. So routinely, and then in the past, the council has passed the motions that the reserve bid will be using the assessed value, which our appraisers doing that every year. So in terms of the process, is that once we establish the reserve bid, then we will be putting the advertisement in the Alberta Gazette on November 15. And then on December 15, we will be mailing letters to the property owners. Again, this properties already went through 3-year cycles of being late. So throughout all these years, they've been already receiving notices, letters with respect to um, um, basically we have to follow through the process under the MGA. So this is not a surprise to any property owners that is on the list. And then on January 7, 2026, we will be putting up an ad into the local newspapers, and then the public auctions will be taking place on January 23rd, 2026. At any given time, those property owners pay off the property tax outstanding or enter into a payment plan with the town, the property will be get off the list of the public auctions. So basically, anyone on the list, they have up to January 23rd, 2026 to pay off or enter into arrangement. But again, this is a process under the MGA that the town must follow through. Thank you.
Thanks, Victoria. Can I get a motion, please? Tony?
I move that council authorizes the 2025 tax recovery public auction to be held on January 23rd, 2026, and furthermore sets the assessed values as at July 31, 25, as the reserve bid prices for the properties being offered for sale, and sets the terms and conditions for the sale as presented.
Seconder, please. Patrick, comments? Tom?
From my experience, a fair number, high percentage of these properties, the taxes actually get paid. Would that be a fair statement?
Yes.
Crystal?
I just had a question. What happens if, say, they don't and we take over the property and there's a renter? Has that ever happened? And then what? It just follows under the Residential Tenancy Act. Like that's how we would have to deal with that property then.
So the town has various options. Basically, if anyone, it depends on whether the tax auctions go through, and then if someone actually purchases, then that would be the new owner's problem. But if it is not, then it's up to the town to determine. And then you can see that under the request for decision is that if the property is not sold at the public auctions, then the town has 3 options: whether we want to put a tax for features as a lien on the titles, or we want to get a clear titles, or do nothing. But again, if it's purchased by a third party, that would be the new property owner's problem to deal with.
Anybody else? I don't know if we've ever actually ended up with the tax auction. We've been down to the minutes, but we actually, yeah, I've been here when we did down to the minutes, and then they get paid. So hopefully, yeah, nobody wants to see this happen.
And just for the information, a lot of the time is that because the outstanding tax is much lower than the house value. So definitely people would like to pay off the tax before it goes to um, the, the, the next bidder, so.
Yeah, it's been weird. 8 years and I haven't seen it, so that's awesome. All right, anybody else? All in favor? Carrie, thanks, Victoria. All right, let's move on to 9.3.1. Please, Jared.
Thank you, Your Worship, members of council. Jared Bronstein, Director of Infrastructure Services, and I have a requested decision before you in regards to the Midland Park mine site as well as the Midland Park McMullen Island area. So in 2024, we took on winter maintenance from the province, or not from the province, to assist the province in opening up those two areas, or that one area to winter use. That one season was very successful. It was very well used. There's a lot of good feedback from the community, a lot of good feedback from the Badlands Trail Society in regards to that particular day use area being available during the winter. Discussions were made in spring of this year in regards to opening up the mine site for the same kind of winter activity. There was no pushback from infrastructure services in regards to our operational impacts. The province is on board with bringing that online as well in the winter. So there is a request for a decision in front of council to continue with this maintenance objectives over the 2025-2026 season, but also a recommendation that we try to get the province to take on year-round maintenance of those two facilities and allow them to provide that 365-year access to those two provincial parks. Any questions?
Thanks, Jared. Can I get a motion, please? Tony.
I move that council approves the continuation of winter maintenance services at Midland Provincial Park for the 2025-26 season and the expansion of services to include the Midland Mine lower parking area with snow and ice control provided by the town of Drumheller and trail and washer maintenance provided by Badlands Trail Society.
Seconder, Stephanie, comments? Tom?
Yeah, just a huge thank you to the Badlands Trail Society for doing this. I mean, this is a wonderful example of volunteers in the community that are making a tremendous impact. To have the province close these areas the last number of years, you know, I think they were closing them at the end of September or something, was just ridiculous. So this is a wonderful partnership between the town and the Badlands Trail Society.
Crystal?
Yeah, and just to add to that, living out in Midland, when those parks were closed, the amount of traffic parking on the highway was a huge problem because they had nowhere to go. And so I'm so glad to see, even if it's just a parking lot open, at least there's somewhere for them to park because it was going to become an accident waiting to happen. So, and I know the Badlands Trail Society, they're a small group, but they are very determined to increase trail development and stewardship of the land here. So thanks to them for partnering with us.
Anybody else? And I echo, as I said earlier, with the Drumheller Area Health Foundation, without volunteers, none of this would happen. And this project has been ongoing for a number of years, and without those volunteers stepping up, it wouldn't happen. So thank you to everyone in the Badlands Trail Society. All in favor? Carrie, can I get a motion now to direct council to engage with Alberta Forestry? Patrick.
I move the council, pardon me. I move the council direct administration to engage with Alberta Forestry and Parks to advocate for the government of Alberta to assume year-round maintenance responsibilities for Midland Provincial Park and the Midland Mine lower parking area.
Seconder. Tony. Comments? Crystal.
And again, like honestly, we're no different than parks in Kananaskis. They're open year round too. And we're seeing the influx of visitors here year round. So if we can't have our parks open, then maybe the other parks in the province shouldn't be open either, right? So again, if this wasn't open, I can honestly see a serious accident happening on that highway. So hopefully they can see that goal for us.
She's a little feisty. I think she's telling you to get at her. All right. Anybody else? All in favor? Carried. All right. We have a public hearing at 5:30, so we will just take a break until then because our agenda is done. So we'll wait till 5:30 and we'll be back. Thank you. Welcome back, everyone, and we will have our public hearing. So can I please get a motion to open the public hearing, Tony?
I move that the public hearing for proposed North Machichi Creek land designation bylaw number 28.25 be opened at 5:30.
Seconder, Stephanie, all in favor? Carried. All right, I will introduce this motion. This hearing is being held in accordance with Part 7 of the Municipal Government Act and the Council and Committee Procedure Bylaw to give all affected persons the opportunity to provide feedback on North Machichi Creek Land Designation Bylaw number 28.25. No decisions will be made at this meeting. Council will consider all submissions and will deliberate on this feedback at a future meeting of council. I will now ask Chief Administrative Officer Esther to introduce North Machichi Creek Land Designation Bylaw number 28.25.
Thank you, Your Worship. In order to comply with the funding agreement established with the Province of Alberta and the Government of Canada, land acquired for the flood mitigation project must be dedicated as either environmental reserves or public utility lots, or another designation satisfactory to the province. Public utility lots are titled parcels of land which are owned by the town of Drumheller and contain public utilities or municipal infrastructure. Wherever possible, the land acquired for the use of berms will be converted into public utility lots or PULs, as the berms are considered municipal infrastructure. The Machichi Creek West berm and the Machichi Creek East berm were constructed in 2024 as part of the town's flood mitigation program. To facilitate the construction of the Machichi Creek West berm, the Machichi Creek itself was realigned by shifting the creek east. Currently, part of the Machichi Creek West berm is located on a community reserve lot, described as Lot 5MR Block 1, Plan 2721 JK. In order to comply with the requirements of the flood mitigation funding agreements, the town must remove this designation of community reserve and redesignate the lot as a PUL. Bylaw 28.25 intends to remove the status of community reserve, while another bylaw will be brought before council in the near future to designate this parcel and the surrounding parcels as the PULs. In accordance with the requirements of Section 674 of the Municipal Government Act, the town is required to hold a public hearing prior to the removal of the community reserve designation. The public hearing was advertised in the Drumheller Mail on August 20th and August 27th, 2025, and the proposed bylaw was posted on the Town of Drumheller website. Any persons who claimed to be affected by the proposed bylaw was invited to present their comments here in person or in writing.
Thank you, Esther. I'll now ask Angela, Legislative Services Coordinator, to provide the rules and procedures for the public hearing.
Thank you, Your Worship. The rules and procedure for the public hearing are as follows. Those in support of the matter will be permitted to speak first, followed by those in opposition. Following this, the Chief Administrative Officer will be permitted to respond to any comments, and Council will be given the opportunity to ask clarifying questions. Each presenter will have 5 minutes to speak, and each group or organization will have 10 minutes to speak. Each presenter shall state their name, whether they are in support or in opposition, whether they are a resident of Drumheller, and how they are affected by the matter. Each presenter shall address their presentation to the mayor and shall only address council with permission of the mayor. We request that you only present material associated with the subject of the public hearing. All presentations will form part of the meeting minutes and will become part of the public record. Council may not debate the matter and may only ask questions for clarification. Council will have the opportunity to ask questions once all presentations are finished. We ask that you respect the views of everyone here and allow each person their time to speak.
Thank you, Angela. We'll now open the floor to the public. Are there any written submissions in support of North Machichi Creek Land Designation by 2825?
No, Your Worship, there are no written submissions in support.
For the first time, has anyone registered to present in person or remotely in support of the bylaw?
No one has registered to present in support.
For the second time, is there anyone present who would like to speak in support of the bylaw?
No one has stepped forward.
And for the third time, is there anyone present who would like to speak in support of the bylaw?
No one has stepped forward, Your Worship.
All right, are there any written submissions in objection to North Machichi Creek Land Designation Bylaw 28.25?
Your Worship, there were no written submissions in objection received.
All right, for the first time, has anyone registered to present in person or remotely in objection to the bylaw?
No one has registered to present in person or remotely in objection to this bylaw.
For the second time, is there anyone who would like to speak in objection to the bylaw?
No one has stepped forward, Your Worship.
And for the third time, is there anyone who would like to speak in objection to the bylaw?
No one has stepped forward.
All right. Since we haven't had any submissions either way, I will now ask council if they have any questions. No? All right, I will consider this matter closed. Thank you for the input this evening, council. Since we have nothing to discuss, I please get a motion to close the public hearing. Stephanie.
I move that the public hearing for proposed North Machichi Creek Land Designation Bylaw number 28.25 be closed at 5:37 p.m.
Seconder, please. Patrick, all in favor? Carried. And now can I please get a motion to adjourn? Nobody wants to adjourn? Tony.
I move that council adjourn the meeting at 5:37 p.m.
Seconder. Stephanie. All in favor? Carried. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being with us. Reminder that if you're interested in becoming part of council, to get your nomination papers in. And as always, have a great week. Please be kind to family, friend, and neighbors, and enjoy the weather wonderful weather we have. Take care.